up guys, knifezoid from Blade Runner Systems. This is Daily Flip Tip episode 2. This flip tip I put out a while ago, and that is get at least one power aerial under your belt and try to practice that power aerial at least 3 times a week. Now I'm going to admit right now that I am very guilty of not following this particular tip. Not a huge power aerialist, definitely something I need to work on. Usually when I do power aerials, it's just because that's the theme of the battle, so you know, I'll suck it up for that one time and try to go big. But that's not a very good way to go about it. And the reason why I wrote that tip is because of my personal weakness as a flipper. You want to have at least one, preferably more than one, but at least one power aerial that you do somewhat consistently, and you want to do it at least 3 times a week. And the reason is because if you're like a person like me who only does a power aerial whenever the battle theme calls for it, you're going to find that every single time you go to film that particular video, you're going to have to build your confidence up and even your competency up for that particular move, and it's going to take you a very long time, and sometimes that translates on the video as a weakness. You know, people can see you're not comfortable in that arena. The move will be pulled off with less fluidity, with less confidence. It does translate onto the film, and you may lose votes when you enter a competition. So it's important to do the move confidently, and the only way that you can get comfortable with power aerials, or any move for that matter, is to do it consistently. But power aerials specifically, because when a knife is flying, you know, high up in the air at a pretty high rate of speed, that's something that is probably the most intimidating thing in flipping. Aerials, I think, were one of the things that I was very reserved to do. Not just power aerials, but regular aerials. It was something that I was very reserved to do when I first started flipping. And the only way you get more consistent at it is you just have to keep on doing it to build up that confidence. So a simple one that I think would be good for people who aren't, maybe they're somewhat new to power aerials, or they're just getting into them, would probably be like a behind the back catch. I don't even know if that's really considered a power aerial these days, but it's a more complex aerial for sure. And that's something that it's good because it's more complex of an aerial. It does build up your confidence with the knife traveling a further distance and into a different position behind your back. But also that move is a good closer. It's also something that you can incorporate into combos, so that's a good place to start. I see a lot of people are pretty comfortable with the Lucy's Van Gogh. That's where you're catching the knife behind, I'm kind of out of frame here, but behind your head. I'll put in some other footage from other flippers so you guys can see it. That seems to be one that people transition to easily. That's a good closing move. But do these moves, if power aerials are not your main thing, do them, again, just do them a few times a week, or maybe just one day out of the week, just to keep that confidence within your mentality, you know, so that if you ever are called to do that particular battle, you're not going to be completely out of the loop. The other thing is, if you do this consistently, you're probably going to branch out into other types of aerials. So I think this is definitely a good practice to follow. I myself, again, I'm going to have to kind of follow my own advice here and keep to that schedule. But hopefully that'll help you guys, and I hope to see more power aerials in your competition vids. Thanks for watching.